Thanks for joining us again. In this episode, we're going to go deeper into CCC's story and hear how Power Platform, backed by the Microsoft Cloud, is driving more informed decisions throughout the business. Thanks for joining us again on another Customer Tech Talks. Now, on our previous episode, we spoke with CCC Group, who shared how they're using Azure Data Lake and Databricks to drive more informed decisions around their marketing campaigns. Now, if you missed that episode, you can check it out at the link below.
That's right. And this time, we're going to dive deeper into CCC's business and hear how they are leveraging their data estate throughout every part of their business, from their corporate head office all the way down to their stores, with lower latency and higher availability provided by the Microsoft Cloud. And you may recall, CCC's mission is to unlock fashion for everybody, everywhere. With 90 e-commerce platforms and 950 stores in 28 countries, including brands like A.O. Bouvier, Modivo, and DZ, and more recently, the Half Price chain of stores. And with Microsoft's global infrastructure, we can help CCC meet their customers wherever they are in the world.
Joining us today is Gosha Latos, Team Lead for Business Intelligence at CCC Group. Gosha, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you lead the Business Intelligence team. Can you share with us what parts of the business your team supports and how you work to engage them in the report building process?
Sure. So the Business Intelligence team supports virtually every part of our business, starting from our CEO, management board, right through sales, e-commerce, logistics, CRM, marketing, you name it, we are involved. We are also responsible for delivering reports to our stores. So delivering meaningful but simple reports, which allows our business to make quicker and smarter decisions. My team specifically needs to understand each department, individual processes, daily tasks, and challenges that they are facing, so we are able to help, problem solve, or streamline things. Currently, we have over 180 reports across our business, over 4,000 users, 6,000 views each day, and 1.8 million views last year only. To ensure that our business can actually utilize all of our reports to the fullest, we are very concentrated about storytelling in our reports and making it as simple as possible for the end user.
Well, the first thing I'll say is 1.8 million views is amazing. And it's great to hear how the focus is kept on the storytelling aspect of the reports. So while the data is there, the story is what's really driving the insights. So with that, what were some of the challenges you faced when you first came on board?
So before I joined, the business intelligence team started with only 2 people. One of them was my current manager. They did an extremely great job at introducing Power BI throughout the company. The aim was to ensure that every single part of our business had a good insights on their data in much more user-friendly way. However, after the team grew and the business got to know the Power BI tool much better, that led to a report overload. When I first joined CCC, there were over 250 reports, and even with a bigger team, it was difficult to ensure the capacity to build new reports while maintaining the existing one. So we realized that less is better, and we put a plan in place to rationalize the number of reports across the business, which led to a quality over quantity outlook.
I'm sure that many other businesses can relate to what you said, which is having too many reports and not knowing what to do with the reports. And I really resonate with the less is more. We often face that here internally at Microsoft as well. So it sounds like you had a huge task on your hands. How did you approach which reports were going to be retired or redeveloped during this process? And what steps did you take to best understand the business needs?
So we started with the simplest thing and utilized all of the usage metrics that Power BI already offers. That allows us to create an inventory by looking at stats to understand which of the reports are used by the greatest number of users, as well as trying to understand their impact within our company. So looking at statistics also helped us to see which reports are used in which part of the business and by who, which led us to the conclusion that some of the reports, while they had lower views, were still high impact because of who was viewing them and why. This is still a constant work for us today. So we are working very closely with each director to better understand their needs before we build any new reports. This allows us to concentrate our efforts to deliver most valuable insights to every part of our business.
So I love the pragmatic approach you took to assessing those reports and not just looking at the views, but also who was viewing those reports to determine their impact. And also how you spent time with the business day to day to figure out exactly how they were using that data. Now, you actually took a step further as well and used some other parts of Power Platform stack to help, I guess, make the uptake of those reports even better. Can you maybe share how you went about that?
Sure. So not that long ago, my team developed an app that allows our allocation team to set stock cover targets for individual assortment groups on a specific date and then to see their impact of those changes in the report directly. To deliver this solution, we've utilized the Power Apps and Power Automate flows.
So it's a really interesting approach you took. Do you think maybe you could step us through that scenario in a little bit more detail?
Sure. So I can't show you our production environment, but I can step you through an example of how this works. So you can see an example report that shows target versus actuals on a month-by-month view. This is used to determine if we have enough actual stock available. Historically, if managers wanted to alter their targets, they would need to pull the data to an Excel spreadsheet and update the targets locally. That resulted in inconsistencies on the way that the targets were updated and also meant that we had little to no visibility of the target changes until they were entered into the system. By adding a link to Power Apps, the managers are able to update the targets and see the impact directly in the report.
That's awesome, and I'd love to see how you're bringing together multiple parts of Power Platform to help solve those business needs. So now that you've cut your teeth essentially on low-code, what's next for Power Platform within CCC?
Oh, so we see so many more places where we can utilize the Power Platform across the CCC group. We are currently working to build a new process to ensure quicker delivery and much more user-friendly tool for our business units to request help from us. We are using a combination of Microsoft Forms, Dataverse, and Power Automate to be able to streamline this process as much as possible. This is key for us to be able to quicker allocate tasks within our department, as well as making better decisions on what solution to go with. For example, if that should be a data set, new report, or simply extending an already existing one.
It is so exciting to see what your plans are at CCC moving forward. Now, as you look at the reports you've delivered so far, what are some of the insights that have been driven from this data, and what impact has this had on CCC's business?
We could sit here all day talking about this. It's hard to pick few of them, but here are some of their examples. So if we're looking at logistics, we deliver a dashboard to track all of the key logistic metrics as well as their trends. This allowed us to check the amount of goods received, the number of orders and shipment, as well as analyze the stock level in our stores. This also gave us a deeper insight into how we can optimize and improve the delivery experience for our customers. If we're looking at sales, the sales effectiveness report is our main tool to support the operational processes within our stores. Stores employees can verify the results like revenue, number of items per receipt, or number of customers in the store. And all of that they can track in an hour-by-hour view. We're also looking at product insights planning. So we are analyzing the main sales metrics in a product view to see what is the effectiveness of sales in a specific assortment group. This allows us, our customer insights and product planning department, to make product recommendations for future seasons.
That's so great. And I think the key takeaway for me so far from what you've shared is that this data and the insights that come from this data can be valuable across every single aspect of the business. Now, I can imagine as well with some of the global supply chain issues and challenges around the world, those insights and logistics have been invaluable to running the business. And you've mentioned earlier that some of the reports have lower viewership as they are targeted to select groups in the organization. Have there been any situations where you've had to optimize access based off of the business need?
Oh, for sure. In fact, one of the examples is making sure that each user sees the right level of the data. based on their seniority within the company. So, for example, our CEO and directors can see the full report. A manager will only see the report filtered for their team. The same applies where the store regional manager sees the regions, but can also compare to the whole country results. However, the store manager will only see their store and regional results.
Thank you for sharing. And so looking back at your time at CCC, what are some of the lessons that you've learned that you would like to share with others?
Some of the biggest lessons learned for me would be the fact that everything starts with the data, and taking time to ensure data quality and the right data governance, it's key to deliver the right insights within the company. Another one is that viewership doesn't always equate to impact, and you need to be working very closely with your business to understand what impact each report has for the whole company. And last but not least, Power Platform is so much bigger than just Power BI, and low-code provides a great opportunity to innovate your business processes, so utilize it to the fullest of its potential.
You know, I couldn't agree more around your sentiments on data quality and making sure the right data in to get the right data out at the other side as well. And that idea of understanding the best way to measure impact of your reports by who they go to, not necessarily how many people view them. So, Gosha, thank you so much for taking time with us today and sharing the deeper view of CCC's story and how data is impacting your business.
Thank you so much for having me.
So great to hear from Gosha, and I really appreciated the way that they dealt with the report overload within the business and realized that just because a report doesn't have a lot of views, it doesn't mean that it's not driving impact.
I totally agree. And one thing that I thought was really insightful is when they realized that not everyone needs to see everything. And while having a lot of data is great, not everyone can benefit from having access to all the reports. And so this meant that they were really able to make insights more impactful by tailoring to the business need.
That's right. And I also really like the way they took a less is more approach to developing future reports. So rather than creating new reports with every new data request that comes through, they really take the time to assess what's there today to see if anything can be modified or added to, rather than going back to that report overload state that they were getting away from.
That's right. And now if you want to get started with Power BI or Power Platform within your own business, you can head to Microsoft.com/learn to get started. We are also always looking for new customer stories to share. So if you want to be a part of future episodes, you can email us at cttalk@Microsoft.com.
That's right. And lastly, make sure you don't miss out on any future episodes. To do this, you can head to aka.ms/customer tech talks to subscribe. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next Customer Tech Talks.